Hello, it's only What the Show. It sounds so much better when he says it, and he's like in his little British accent, and he's like, it's only films to be buried with. Anyways, before anyone sues us, not like I think Brett Goldstein will ever actually watch this. Tonight's theme is films to be buried with, off of one of my favorite podcasts, Films to be buried with Brett Goldstein, which is a great podcast. And if none of you are currently listening to it, go subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. But anyways, I'll be your host tonight, Bethany Goldstein. I know Mike leaves for one stream and I've run off to get married with a British bloke. Just kidding. I'm still Bethany Deacon. I see him in the chat. But anyways, I'll be your host tonight. I'm a server, a daughter, a wife, a podcast host, and a big film enthusiast, mostly this film, which this side, Bethany, which I'm currently repping, which is E.T., favorite, best film of all time, objectively the greatest film ever made. We are going to be dissecting our guests tonight. We're going to learn a little bit about them by learning about films that they enjoy, that they've watched, films that mean a lot to them, and hopefully we'll get to learn a lot about them. So anyways, without further ado, we're going to kill off a couple of my co-hosts tonight, which is exciting, and talk to them about films. So get pumped. Anyways, first and foremost, films to be juiced with. We have the one and only Juice. Welcome. Classy. What are you drinking tonight, Juice?
I have a raspberry juice mystery smash with a gold sugar rim.
The mystery smash. Is it like a watermelon?
It is. It has the elements of a watermelon smash. So had to go old school today. I decided to lug the old Blu-ray thing back. We're ready. I'm excited to be buried.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to hear how you die and what film you'd like to be buried with. We're gonna get into all of the above. And then of course, we all wouldn't be here without the person who basically co-founded this podcast, the one and only AJ.
Hello. How are we doing tonight, guys?
He's every fucking where, AJ.
Just for clarification before it shows up in the chat, I did not shave the beard. It shrunk in the wash. It had been that long.
It's starting to come back here.
Yeah, I can see you're getting a little something. Not even up from the 2000s.
Yeah, I'm about 2 weeks away from being able to Zoom date again.
Dude, I'll see you there.
Oh, I'm excited. Now that I have these lovely gentlemen, my two co-hosts, I feel like we need some more estrogen up in here. So we do have a lovely special guest joining us this evening, the one and only Allison. Hi! I've never known another Allison. I'm just kidding. I have, but you're gonna be the one and only. Oh, okay. I'm digging the name. Everyone's got some good names tonight. I'm digging it.
I figured because I work with children, I hear Baby Shark literally all day on repeat, so it just made the most sense. And then I also realized I'm calling myself a tart, which probably, it's fine.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
We're going with it.
It's all totally fine. Oh, all right. Well, it's because I'm in charge of things tonight, and that makes me feel very important. Anywho, now that the gang is all here, so essentially the way this works, again, if no one has ever listened to Films to be Buried with, which again, what are you doing with your life if you're not? Is we are all here, and like I said, kind of a second ago, I'm going to be asking my lovely panel of guests this evening some questions. But first, I hate to break the news to all three of you because you're great, lovely people. But you're all dead. So just so you know, you died. I know it's hard. If you want to take a moment to kind of just think about that for a minute, you're dead though. Sorry to break that news.
Is this where AJ and I cry already? Is this where we start with that?
Yeah. Can we get a cry count on how many times AJ and Allison might cry tonight?
Oh shit!
I'd like to know, first and foremost, I guess I'll ask you first, Juice, because I brought you in first. How did you die?
Oh shoot! I thought this was gonna get asked at the end, and I'd have time to think of an answer.
No, the first thing we have.
All right. So how I always imagined it is, all right.
How old are you when you die?
We get to about 75.
75, that's a good age. Okay.
I finally decide to tackle my one big defeat in life was not being able to trampoline and play guitar at the same time. So I decide to have one last go at it. I invite all of my friends that I have met over all of the years. We have one big party, one big just whole get together. I'm just talking with everyone that I've ever known in this life. And then I get on stage, get on the trampoline, and I just play the guitar on the trampoline until my bones give out or until I launch myself off the stage. And there's going to be like a whole water pit of snapping turtles, because that's classically how I lost my fingers, was snapping turtles. And so I'm going to finally meet my end to snapping turtles, taking off all of my fingers, and then
just to reiterate, you're on the trampoline, and at the age of 75, because your lifelong goal is to be on the trampoline and play the guitar at the same time.
Yeah.
And then you're just jamming so much, hopefully playing like some Stan Bush or something, you know.
Yep.
And you just the touch, and you just. Speaking of the touch, you touch some snapping turtle and meet your death. All right, that's a good way to go. Blaze of glory. I respect that. Allison, I'm really sorry that the first time we officially invite you on this show as a guest that we killed you off. But how did you die? And also, anyone in the chat would like to tell us how they died, your age, how it happened. Let us know. We'd love to know how you died.
Let's see. I'm also probably in my 70s. A new surgery has been created that will actually make me a really good singer, because it's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. Okay. And then as I'm on stage performing in my big concert, everything just collapses around me and I just go out in a blaze of glory.
Okay. I like how both of these are kind of music related. I will say if everyone enjoys this show tonight, I'd like to do another iteration where we do it related to music. So
done.
I have another answer for that.
You can't steal my juice.
No.
The snapping turtles have taken you, and you're blaze of glory.
You're dead.
In her 70s, somewhere in her 70s, has gotten surgery. She can finally sing. And
all I've ever wanted.
All she's ever wanted. And then on her concert, she just goes out. But both of you and just blazes of glory. AJ, I was promised not tonight, but maybe at some point that your death would be coming in a poem. So if you'd like to give us how you died.
So yeah, I gave a lot of thought, maybe too much of this, for how I want to go out, the exact date, and how. So I will be passing. I passed away February 29th, 2068. 2068 on Leap Day. The morning of, my body was found at Howth Golf Course in Dublin, Ireland.
I gotta do some math real quick. How old will you be?
I will be 77.
Okay. Ooh, I like that.
Because it's February. So on Leap Day, I will be found
in the 70s. I want to live to like 90 something.
Well,
we just have expectations. Like, we would love to live that long, but we all just know our life choices and where we're going with it.
Now, the Alzheimer's that plagued my grandfather skipped a generation. My mom died lucid. However, I had started to go, and at the last opportunity when I was probably allowed to travel by myself, I stayed at the hotel that I stayed at in Dunleary when I was 17 years old. And my last night before my flight home, since I've been taking psilocybin treatments, which are legal now in the U.S., to kind of keep my mind right as long as I could, I decided I would go from those microdose treatments to a macrodose, and I was going to trip balls in Ireland. So I died on a golf course, even though I hadn't golfed since I was 14 years old. But I was near the sea, and it was beautiful. And
way to go!
The circumstances of my death are currently unknown, but people are telling stories of an American in pubs with a cadet hat, like a cadet style hat, navy green, with the circular stitch up top, that style of hat.
Okay.
Just being wild and delightful the entire evening. And when they find me, the groundskeeper, I never wanted to be a problem to the groundskeeper. Let me make that clear. The nearest hole, which is about 80 yards away, he found €1,000 or whatever the current equivalent 2068 is to €1,000 with a note that said, "I hope I wasn't a problem. Take only my ashes, leave my footprints." And he thought to himself, that guy was fucking wasted.
You literally Irish goodbye it.
Irish goodbye out of life in Ireland.
I love a good Irish goodbye too. What a way to go.
Yeah.
Poke Mahone.
This is a great. I just watched Kill Bill. This would be a great way to go. Although that would be excruciating pain. 15 minutes and then you die. Legos.
My death involved a delivery of clown dolls.
Well, I don't know if I've told. I'll tell this story on a different podcast, but I have a story about a roommate and a broken AC unit. So, we'll get there another time. But
I'm intrigued. Can I also say, as we're going through tonight and asking these wonderful questions, again, please feel free not only to tell me how you died, but also your answers to any of these questions, because that's my favorite thing about listening to this show. It's not only listening to the guest answers every week, but I think of my own, and then I think about like people in my life, and I'm like, I wonder what their answers would be, which is how this came about. I'm going to get to know how some people's answers tonight, so that's exciting. I have added a few, if you're a fan of the podcast, I have added a few of my own questions just to keep things fun. Also, because one of them is basically like, what's your biggest guilty pleasure? And I feel like we've kind of like, we've killed that horse on this show already. Like we talked all the time on the show. So I was like, we already all know that answer. So I changed that question up to be a little something different, just to keep things interesting so we could hear some new answers. Anyways, though, great news. I'm glad you all lived lovely lives into your 70s. AJ, Irish goodbye it. Allison got to live out her dream before she passed. And Juice was obviously on the keytar. The keytar and is, let's be honest, the reason you are only going to be able to be buried with one film is because you're going to be buried with like 8 keytars. So there's only going to be so much room in your coffin to bury that one film. But I do have some good news. Basically, there is an afterlife. Yay. So you're kicking it. We're all in the afterlife together. We're having a great time. It's like movie night every night. And we all get to show each other like our favorite film. And it's just like a great time. And so now I'd like to get to know a little bit about your life now that you've died. And I'm going to get to know a little bit about your life through asking you some questions about some of the films that you got to witness in your life. So first things first. We'll go ahead and start with Allison this time, ladies first. What is the first film that you can recall seeing?
So one of the first, there was a couple that I had, so I had to like go back to the release dates just to make it, because they were all released in 91. I was born in 86, so all of these were released in 91. So I had to go back and like see the exact date so I knew which one came first. But so technically the first movie I remember seeing in theaters was actually Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
I think the fact that it's 2, Secret of the Ooze, makes it even better. That's a good first film. AJ, can you remember? She's talked about it already.
Yes.
You tell me what's the first film you recall seeing.
So for me, it was so I thought it was for the longest time Lion King. It was actually a year prior. It was Free Willy. Free Willy, which we saw in Bangor, Maine, when my family lived in Maine. And afterwards, a couple weeks later, we went there and we adopted a little Cocker Spaniel puppy that I insisted be called Willie. I was 3 years old.
Okay, fair, yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Question: was Willie a boy Cocker Spaniel or a girl
Yes,
Cocker Spaniel?
he was a boy.
So it's funny you have that story. Is we also had a Springer Spaniel growing up, and my brother named it Bill after something on TV, but Bill was a girl.
Nice.
It could
They
be a
could have
girl.
met.
great.
But my family let it pass because he had the curly Cocker Spaniel hair, and he kind of looked like Willie Nelson. Scrunched up face, curly hair. Yeah. Long hippie hair.
That's awesome.
That's a good first film too. Juice, what was the first film you can remember?
So I kind of wish, and I know my first film in theaters was Star Wars Phantom Menace. I wish that was the first one, but at the same time, I don't, because the first image of like a movie that comes to my head when I thought long and hard about what was the first like image, like film I remember seeing, and it was the opening scene of the first Toy Story.
Aww, that's such a good one. That's heartwarming.
Yeah, every time I rewatch Toy Story.
Your first film.
Yeah, and this is probably in the actual definition. If you were to say what movie have I seen the most, this would probably technically be it, because this is the one my parents would just loop, because it was the one that I would just like keep eyes focused on and would not stray away from seeing. So this is a great one. And then I do know Toy Story 2 I did see in theaters. My parents said I had like an absolute blast watching it as a kid. So yeah, I got no problem. I love Toy Story.
I respect that. All right, AJ, we're going to start with you this time. What is the film that has made you laugh the most? The funniest movie you have ever seen in your life?
So for me, it's in this time the film Experience. For the first time, and then how I remembered it makes me laugh. Being transported. It's Tropic Thunder. Now, Tropic Thunder came out when I was 17, and my first long-term girlfriend and I, a couple weeks prior, I was at work and my mom decided to help me out and do my laundry, and she found a condom wrapper in my jeans, and we were grounded.
We love you.
We love you, Debbie. So the first time after I was grounded, because we were in the kind of puritanical, evangelical kind of sphere, and I felt so much shame for everything. Our first time back together, we went and saw Tropic Thunder. Nikki and I did in theaters, and the level of stress relief, comedy as a tool that relieves stress, which we've been talking about with like Shakespeare at the time. I felt it, and it kind of melted for me, and I can't remember laughing so hard in the theater because of that. So it's to this day, Tropic Thunder is still.
It's a funny. That's a funny film. That's a good. I feel like this is one of those questions. I don't know why, but this is always the one I find the hardest. I still don't know if I have an answer for this, because I'm weird with like. There are a lot of movies I'm like, oh yeah, I thought that was funny, but I'm like really trying to think of a movie that I just like laughed out loud a lot in, and that's. I don't know. I think I have my answer. I'm not gonna say because that's not my job tonight. I'm here to ask the questions, but I think I might. I don't know. It's hard. Making funny things is hard. Allison, what is the funniest film you have ever seen?
Okay, so the one that I actually went back and forth on a ton, because like I would write something down and then I would think of something else. I'm like, oh no, that one's funnier, and I kept going, and then it finally kind of hit. It actually hit me when I was thinking about the movie that made me cry the most, because it has the same actor in it as the one that I was originally going to choose for that.
We're getting a little tease, maybe.
Yeah. So for the movie that I think is the funniest, I chose The Birdcage, because it's hilarious. Not just the Robin Williams and the Nathan Lane of it, but the Hank Azaria as Agador, and how he's just like, Agador, why aren't you wearing shoes? Because they make me fall down. I like that line right there. kills me every time. And then when he's going to answer the door and he actually falls down, and it's just lots of like little things here and there. And it is just there. I feel like every single time I do watch it, I laugh even harder. And I didn't watch it for a long time after Robin Williams passed away because it made me really sad. So being able to like go back, and the first time I did go back and rewatch it again, I was obviously crying, but also laughing with it because it is just such a beautiful and fucking funny movie. It's so funny.
I haven't watched that in a very long time, and it's kind of really making me want to go watch that now. I used to be on like I don't know, like whatever ABC Family is now called. I feel like it used to be like on ABC Family, weirdly enough, like a lot. And I would just like find it on TV all the time.
Yeah, I remember the. Oh,
sorry. No, go for
it. No, I just remember the first time I saw it was on like a bus going to like the thespian conference for my high school, and I was just like, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, Allison, you've never seen this movie?" At like 16 years old, of course I haven't seen The Birdcage.
Yeah, like isn't that
it was so offended. Apparently I was a very bad thespian for not having seen The Birdcage, and it's stuck ever since.
That's first time. Well, you know, as it was intended to be seen on a bus trip.
On a bus.
All films. On airplanes and buses. Take that, Christopher Nolan. Suck it. Sometimes you can still like a movie, even when you've seen it for the first time on a bus. All right, Juice, what's the funniest film you've ever seen? It's almost made you laugh.
So, right, kind of like you, Bethany. I was trying to think, like, because that's tough to scale. Like, what is the film I actually find I've laughed the most at? But I have to go to what it's a film I've seen probably 5 times, and I laugh just as hard as it each 5 time. And I do think one specific time, but this was a movie. Friend of the show, my own friend, Austin Monlock, it was his favorite movie, and I hadn't seen it. And he showed it to me, and we just were gut bust laughing every like 3-5 seconds. And this is a movie I was going to have a watch along for, just got a little too busy, a little too tired. But Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is absolutely my choice for movie I've laughed the most at. Just so many jokes throughout the whole thing. It's consistently funny. Sometimes you get a comedy where like it starts to drag, or they get a little too much into the plot, or like you don't really care. But this is just, it's hilarious. Visual humor. Nobody does it better than Edgar Wright. It's the best.
Fun
I
fact
love about that pick is I wouldn't like necessarily go like comedy. Like it is a comedic film, but it's not like a straight up comedy. So I like that pick because that's like a little something I wouldn't have thought of.
Quick fun fact. You picked the only wide release film that I know of to feature the bass line from Final Fantasy II's boss theme.
That is a fun fact, AJ. Do you know what I'm very curious about now, which I don't think will happen, but just in this moment it dawned on me. I'm like, what if like 2 of you have the same answer to a question? That'll be very funny. Not like funny, haha, but like
I wrote backups just for that reason.
So you're like, all right, if that one's been taken, I'll do it. But no, like, I don't know, like it would kind of, in a sense, make sense. Like, you know, if you hang around with people, like you'd have similar interests and taste, and
we all did stupid amounts of homework for this.
I'm the person who can't order the same thing as someone else at the restaurant. So like my husband will message me every now and then.
Jack, you can go off now.
Every now and then he'll be like, "What are you getting?" And I'll tell him. I'm like, "What are you getting?" And then he goes and he fucks with me and gets exactly what I wanted. I'm like, "You dick."
We had a lot of conversations about that in Orlando. We're like, I'm the type of person who's like, yeah, if we both like this, that's fine, order it. Like I don't, but I know some people like can't do that.
Nope.
I can almost guarantee from my next pick alone that I probably won't have any same picks with anyone else.
So on kind of the opposite, well, we're not going to quite get to the opposite because that'd be pride, I guess. But in talking about different emotions, I think sometimes when you get scared, you get a good laugh after it. So with that said, I'll start back with you again this time, Juice. We're going to do like a snake. You just did it, but we're going to start with you again. What is the film that has scared you the most?
So I preface this with, I don't really get scared at movies. I can get creeped out. I can get like, weirded out. But I don't really get
Like,
scared
little
too
things
much.
shouldn't scare you?
Well, I did tell the story about like the one Pet Cemetery movie. That was just more like a weird experience, but like I don't get like I'm never like shivering or hovering. So I have to go back to when I was a kid to really get that scared. And I would say there's a scene that's absolutely terrifying in The Indian in the Cupboard.
This is such a
nice.
I love this answer.
I know which
love
one.
this.
It's also
So much.
it's also the best scene, but it's terrifying as a kid. It's where he turns his like all or he because he turns. You don't know the movie. He turns his little his little figure into his cupboard turns into a real life character, but they're still like that small. But he decides he's gonna turn all his like action hero toys. But he's got like Darth Vader and like all the Godzilla, like all these like monsters he puts in, and he opens it up and they're all shooting each other and it's freaking out and like it's terrifying. And then there's also a scene where a rat jumps out of the floor. That's also terrifying.
About that. Yeah, that's terrifying.
So both of those I combine for my most scared movie. Second honorable mention is Ghost Dad with Cosby. I played that at Family Video once. Just didn't know.
Well,
mention a family video. That's okay. That is something. All right, AJ, what is that? That was a great answer. What is the film that has scared you the most?
so I believe I shared this this answer actually before on the show with the most scared I've been as the result of a film, and that is The Ring.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
The
that's
Ring.
a movie.
So watching the movie, it was kind of creepy. I was watching it at home, in this old apartment building that we lived in. It was converted Navy barracks, Army barracks, into apartment buildings, and the power was kind of flimsy. So we had a free Showtime weekend. I'm watching a horror movie at home while my mom was at work, and the power goes out. There's a storm, and like right when the power goes out, like right before the credits, they show The Ring. I get The Ring, not a ball. Sorry. And then the power goes out.
Oh yeah,
Right as that
that's
happens.
bad juju. I don't like
And
that.
then the phone starts ringing, and my mom called because the phone line electric current goes through a different thing. So I answer the phone. I'm terrified. And I'm like, this is how I go out, I guess. And it's my mom coming home from work.
I remember seeing that in the theaters, and I actually slept with my lights on at like 17 years old when I went to go see one. I wanted to go see Sweet Home Alabama, and all my friends changed their minds.
Oh, I would have. Sweet Home Alabama was definitely the better choice of those two.
It would have been.
Good Reese Witherspoon.
Go Reese Witherspoon. Gotta love her. Yeah, I scare very easily. I'm to this day, I'm a grown woman, and I go see a scary movie, and I'm still like, I don't know, I might need to keep the lights on.
Real quick before Allison goes, I just want to mention one thing real quick. We have the Streamlabs pinned up top. I've mentioned my mom, and I'm going to mention my mom like most of these. Actually, my mom is probably the best friend I ever had, and she had a surgery at the beginning of October, and she's back up to walking. She can do stairs without a spotter. She had an arterial blockage in her leg, and it was kind of buried with medical bills even after what insurance covers. I wanted to do a little surprise for her this month, so any donations to What the Show this month, it's usually somebody else's GoFundMe. It's usually a charity. We've done thousands of dollars with you guys' support, but I wanted to do something since it's my birthday month back to her, because she's my favorite person in the world. So if you guys have anything that you want to make sure 100% that we see for your picks, Streamlabs is the best way to do it. But I just want to put that out there, that What the Show always out there for a cause, and this month is a cause close to us.
It's personal.
Yeah,
So-
I was gonna say, it's like every doctor show you've ever watched when it's one of their own, and they're like, guys, it's one of our own in there. But seriously, it's one of our own. So we love Debbie, and anything you can give would be super appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys, and no pressure as always. But we love you, and
all
we
the
love
pressure. Donate. Do it. There you go.
I'm glad to say that because she's a guest. So
Exactly.
Also, Hitman Hudson donated $1 saying, "Can't believe AJ is going to die in 2068. Will there be an open bar at the funeral?" Fucking course they will.
Obviously.
So,
he died in Ireland. It's going to be a destination. You know how like destination weddings are a thing? We're going to have a destination funeral, and I'll be like, party. I'll be there.
Facts. You're going to Omaha, Nebraska. I'm sorry.
No, we're burying you in Ireland. You're dying in Ireland. We're burying you there. We're doing a destination funeral. It's going to be a good
ashes. Time. But anyways,
Allison. I will scatter your ashes on that golf course. Whatever you want from me, AJ, I'm here for you. If you happen to go first, guys. Well, I'm living into my 90s, so I'm assuming you're going first. Anyways, Allison, what is the film that has scared you the most?
So the movie that I chose that scared me the most is the one that scarred me probably from ever being able to watch scary movies again. And that was, again, when I was a child. My dad took myself and my siblings and our neighbor to go see Ernest Scared Stupid. And it scared the shit out of me to the point where me and little David, who was our neighbor, were both sobbing in the theater. I still haven't watched it since. And this is like 30 years ago. Like I still it traumatized me so, and I don't know, I can't remember why, because I literally have not seen it since. But yeah, so because of that movie, I've just because my husband's a big horror fan, so he's like, let's watch this movie. And I'm like, remember my Ernest Scared Stupid story? We're not going to watch it. Sorry.
My favorite thing about this question is it's always, because again, I think we most get scared of things when we're little. And like, that's my favorite thing, is basically finding out like what freaked us out when we were kids, essentially. Because that's always everyone's answer. Like if you ever listen to podcasts, they're always like, when I was 13, when I was this, like, it's never like, yeah, last year I watched this movie and it was real scary. Like this horror that sticks with you is always like from your childhoods. And I loved like these answers because it's spot on. It's just like, yeah, like and when I was a kid, this is the thing that really freaked me out. And I think that's a fair and valid reason. All right. Usually this is where Brett Goldstein would say that he doesn't like to get, he doesn't want to be mean. He's not a mean person. He don't like to get negative. And I'm with that. But on this show, actually, we are quite negative sometimes, only when it's reasonable. So I'm just gonna, we're gonna pull it off like a Band-Aid, just like Brett does. But actually elaborate, please. I want to know why you hate this movie. But we'll go ahead and start with AJ this time. What is the worst film you have ever seen? Not like so good it's like, or so bad it's good, but just like straight up, you're like, this is a god-awful movie. Why was this made? I'm also
I completely actually glanced over this one, so now I'm improvising it. The worst film I think I've ever seen, and now I'm up first. It's so hard because I find merit in bad films. I think I love bad films so much, and now, like I said, I completely glanced over this one, and they are not in the order that we were sent.
A lot of things, Lego. A lot of things.
The worst movie I ever saw was probably Major League 3 Back to the Minors.
Okay, that's fair. I've never seen it. I stopped after 2 because I heard 3 was real bad.
3, the first one's an honest to God brilliant sports movie. The second one's a funny 80s 90s style comedy. The third one is just people needed jobs and they worked those jobs. They got paid for it, and it made a good movie in retail distribution, but it was mostly insufferable and kind of proof of concept that a bad sequel will never ruin a great film, because you always have the first one. But
That's fair.
I'd seen the third Major League multiple times, and it's something that I never need to revisit because I have something that franchise that I enjoy.
That's see, silver lining. You can still go back to the one you enjoy, or even two you enjoy. Allison, what's the worst one you've ever seen?
The worst movie I ever seen that I put down was probably one of the only movies I've ever walked out of the theater for, and that was the Hugh Jackman, Meg Ryan rom-com, Kate and Leopold.
Wow, walked out of the theater on that one.
I walked out. I did not like it. I just was not my thing. I was like, I'm all done. I don't need to see what ends up happening to them. Like, not my favorite Jackman. Please, Juice, tell me you have this movie. And you're
I don't have it.
Spoiler, they end up.
I don't.
Everyone is surprised.
Wish.
So yeah, no, I just thought it was just a terribly done movie. I didn't like the storyline. I didn't like anything really about it. I'm a big Hugh Jackman fan, and I mean Meg Ryan's like the queen of rom-coms.
Yeah, usually legit.
I just imagine you saying like, I hope this guy's never fucking Wolverine. Like,
I think at that point he already was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's why I loved.
Was it the summer after? Okay.
I think he might have done a couple.
This should have been a good discussion for our show last week.
True that.
Very true.
Juice, what's the worst film you've ever seen?
All right, so this is a sequel and a prequel. So I'll preface this with, when it comes to actual film quality, it's not that it's the worst film, but it's something that I absolutely hated. So I normally tend, especially like after just watching something, I'll love it. I'll usually love it or at least like it right away. And then slowly I'll be like, okay, yeah, that actually wasn't that good. This was one of the few times I left the theater being like, I actually hated that. And it's The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. So,
Smaug.
So
great Ed Sheeran song though in the credits.
Yeah. All that type of stuff is good. The music's good, but it was just I'm such a big fan of the.
I like
the
that you
first
say
Lord of the
own it
Rings.
though.
That's true. I know it's terrible. I'm a completionist. I had to get all of them.
Fair.
Well, I was hoping the extended cut was going to be better, and there's nothing.
No.
But because the problem is, it's just the over CGI. Like the first movie did such a good job of having all the practical effects and everyone in makeup. And this was just CGI and CGI dwarves on CGI barrels going on a CGI river, and I CGI'd hate it.
Fair. Tell me how you really feel. I feel that. All right. I was going to save this one for a little bit later because I want to see if we could get Allison or AJ to actually cry, but I think we're just going to rip the Band-Aid off and ask it. But I'm going to start with you, Juice, because again, I really want to save the tears here. So I'm just going to ask you, what is the film that has made you cry the most?
Yeah, so I had to think about this one too. I had a couple, I was like, I could say like The Warrior, I could say, there's a few, Star Wars, New Hope. Like I don't cry at like cry films. I cry at like usually like, just the intense, like the emotional resolve of like, an intense movie. So I wanted to pick something with a little more emotion throughout, and I landed on what would also probably be my choice if the question was underrated movie, and I don't think it's one I've talked about in the show, but it's 50-50 with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That's a good movie.
And what's so great is it's amazing because it is literally the definition of you laugh and cry. Like it's so intense because Joseph Levitt gets cancer, and Seth Rogen's like his friend, and then he's going through different relationship stuff, and it's just it's hilariously heartbreaking.
AJ's already getting emotional.
It's
first. Sorry.
This is what we paid money for.
Yeah, it's amazing. Oh my gosh.
I go to the Streamlabs right now for Debbie, And please, in the Streamlabs, can you guess how many times AJ is going to cry tonight? So give me a number. Let me know. And
I say AJ already had the advantage on this one because I haven't seen 50-50 yet. So
watch the trailer. You're good.
It's
gonna get you.
It is like a dramedy, so it's very funny too. But it is actually quite emotional as well. It is a perfect like comedy drama balance, I think, which a lot of dramedies like try and they kind of fail. But I think that movie actually really knocks it out of the park.
Well, and Juice, you know the story behind it, right? Have you told?
I don't. I guess probably. I probably when I first watched it, I probably looked it up, but I don't remember.
It's the fictionalized true story of Seth Rogen's friend who had cancer.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Man.
Seth Rogen. Didn't he like co-write it with him or something? Mm-hmm. I can't. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. It's a good one, and it's a good one. Whatchamacallit? Anna Kendrick also in it. Great. Yep. A good role for her. She was good in that movie. Yeah, a good performances overall. Definitely a tearjerker. I'm with you, Juice, though, and that yes, movies that are supposed to make me cry. But also like weird things. Like I kept telling everyone how much I cried in The Force Awakens, and everyone thought it was when Han died. Spoiler alert for a movie that's been out forever. And it wasn't like I really that was sad, but like I really didn't cry at that. It was when Rey got the lightsaber. I like openly wept in the movie theater every time I saw it because I was like, it was all I've ever wanted was for a girl to be a Jedi in a movie, and it just meant a lot to me. And I cried cause I was like, this is all I wanted. But when I was on the playground and people told me I couldn't be a Jedi, suck it, Bobby. So anyways, it meant a lot to me. And yeah, Han dying was also sad. I think my emotions for Han, I felt more in Rise of Skywalker, which everyone hates, but I like that movie. And I got more upset about his death in that movie when he came back to talk to Kylo Ren than I did when he actually died. But anyways, that's besides the point. I'm going to save you, AJ, because I'm excited to hear the answer. Allison, what is the movie that made you cry the most?
Okay. So I originally had, this is how I ended up in the birdcage, I originally had Good Will Hunting, but I thought about it a little bit harder, and I feel like you might be able, being in Orlando, Bethany, you may also help, you may understand this movie if you've seen it. The one that makes me cry the most is The Florida Project.
Oh, I had it's happening.
It's just, it's for those who haven't seen it, it's about the motel life in Florida. It's very beautifully done. It is a heartbreaking film. And at the very end of it, when the little girl is just sobbing because her whole world is falling apart and she's just standing there and she's crying and she just wants her friend to come with her. And then watching them running through Disney World and then knowing that the way that those filmmakers shot that final scene was just on an iPhone because they couldn't get a film crew into Disney without spending a shit ton of money and whatnot. So but I think living in Florida and living right by where all those motels are and knowing that whole, just everything that, goes on and what that's, not knowing what it's like, but being able to see it almost, especially having worked at Disney myself for many, many years, you see it every day. And it's just it's the most beautifully done film. It's a heartbreaking film, but it's just, you want to talk about a good cathartic cry, right there is The Florida Project.
It's first of all, it's a very well-made film. They did a lot of guerrilla style filming. Mm-hmm. Basically the hotel that it's just a real, they had permission to film there obviously, but the end, the bit that they did, the very brief bit that they did at Disney World, they had to do that on the fly for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. It's definitely one of those films. And again, just if you work in the hospitality industry long enough, if you live in Orlando long enough, people that's actually their story. And that's what I think makes it even more, as you're that's, and weirdly, both of you kind of have things that are based off of real life. And I think that is what makes it more sad, is knowing this is literally people's lives. Mm-hmm. So that's again, another unexpected pick. I wouldn't have thought of that, but that is a really, really good one. AJ, I'm ready. I'm ready to make you cry now. I'm sorry. I feel kind of bad. I've killed people. I'm making people cry tonight.
So, I've actually mentioned this one before. It's not the one people would think from the Sunday pig roast with Mike. And that's it's Pig.
Pig.
Pig in more in one viewing through the course of that day gave me more tears. Has everybody on screen seen it?
I still haven't seen it yet. I want to.
Can I spoil this movie?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I'll forget by the time I actually watch it.
I don't think so.
Sometimes
because
spoilers make things even better.
So, the premise of the film is that Nicolas Cage's character is he was a brilliant 5-star chef who, after his wife died, moved out to the wilderness to hunt truffles with a pig, and the pig is his best friend who's kidnapped. And at the end of the movie, after he goes back into society and he's just his feral self, the man who was behind the kidnapping of the pig in the first place was this guide's father, and his the son and the father they lost their mom and wife. She's a vegetable in a hospital, and at one point in the movie they mention the son mentions speaking to his mom, "Hey, I found that guy who cooked you that dinner that you love so much, your favorite dinner ever." And at the end of the movie, it's done in a way that you don't realize what they're doing, where they make the dad the perfect dinner, but it was the dinner from that night before her accident. And this movie came out the same year I lost my dad. And Adam Arkin, I think, for maybe 10 minutes of screen time, deserves a Best Supporting Actor nomination because he takes a bite into the food. He smells the wine. He's transported back to a point where he felt that love. There was a poet, Anais Nin, who wrote, "We write to taste life twice." And in that moment, he tasted life twice. I came home from the movie theater, and all I could think about when I was like 10 years old, my dad actually let me like do crab legs by myself for the first time, and we'd like all I could taste was crab legs soaked in butter and cry in the shower. So, without a doubt, that transportation in film, nothing has made me feel like that before.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that answer. I already wanted to see it, but now I really want to see it. And I also, not the same, but kind of the same, just made me think of one of my favorite running things in Ted Lasso in season 1 is when he talks about the barbecue sauce, and he brings up in the first episode, and then after the dart scene, he just turns there and he goes, "Barbecue sauce." And then the more you learn about his dad in season 2. So yeah, I'm a sucker. I think that is the thing. I think smells and tastes and movies, as we were discussing tonight, can transport you to a time and place.
Just real quick, dollar donation from Hitman Hudson. Hitman Hudson gets it. Streamlabs, $1 going to my mom to revisit a story I've told on Zoom. When I was 2008, I saw a trailer for and when I was 8 in 2007, I saw a trailer for the movie Teeth and was convinced for a whole week afterwards that vaginas actually had teeth. Thank you for that.
Thank you for lightening the mood.
And Paul Giamatti with the 50.
Yes,
Paul Giamatti. Why haven't any of my movies been mentioned yet? I don't know if we're going to get there with John Dies at the End. If you haven't seen my John Dies at the End review, please check it out. Koi Chandra was there. Paul, you would love it. So.
Speaking of Paul Giamatti, man, I'm still so angry now that I've watched Cinderella Man that he did not get that supporting actor Oscar that year. Like,
Speaking
of Paul Giamatti.
Hey!
I can't hear shit.
Well, we can hear you.
I think it might just be because you're old. Just kidding. I love you. Hi, Jen! Can you hear us?
I got no audio.
We can hear you.
Oh, we can hear you.
Wait, hold on. And is your toggle? Like, do your toggle. He's gone. Anyways. All right, back to
guys, I need to go to the bathroom after that. I'm going to be back in 2 minutes.
I actually do too. If that's okay, if both of us leave at the same time, or should we rotate?
We'll go to a brief.
Yeah, let's do a girl power for a minute.
It's like in the Amanda Bynes show, and they'd be like, "Girls room." It's basically the girls' room right now. So everyone, Mike's just messaged me. Yeah, I got no audio. I'm gonna message him. I can't, like the toggle, like when your phone's on silent, and sometimes then the audio.
Did you put all the volume all the way up on the one side? Because iPhones are weird. Oh boy.
Check that, and it should. This is riveting. I'm just messaging my husband. Everyone,
this is
hang on amongst yourselves.
It's okay if he gets loud enough. You might even hear my husband snoring. So it's fine.
I don't know.
It's fine.
I'm not sure if he got that. He'll figure it out. If not, he won't come on. We'd love to have you on. No, I hear it here. Yeah, no, but I don't know if all right. Well, you're with us in spirit. I love you. Say hi to Jen. I mean, if she can hear me. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Having a good time. Staying safe in Daytona. Yeah, they're StreamYard's not giving me audio. Oh, I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, StreamYard's on mobile. It's not good.
Crap.
I did wash my hands, by the way.
Good job, guys.
3-second pee.
Juice, did you wash your hands?
Yeah. We're coming to a couple of questions. I've been very excited to ask all of these questions, but a couple that I'm very excited to ask because these are a couple of questions that I have come. Your response for your own entertainment doing this pretty great. Yeah, exactly. Use it wildly. It's a jungle out there. Go wild. Anyways, this is one of the questions that I came up with to kind of as a twist on the guilty pleasure. Because like I said, I just feel like we've kind of touched on that subject enough on this channel. So this is the question. I'll go ahead and pop back over to you, Juice. A film that is loved by most, but you can't stand. Overall, everyone's like, "This is so good," and you're like, "I don't get it." I'm excited.
So it's not that I don't love the movie, because I actually do. But and what I said before, I don't really hate too many movies. So don't come at me for too many hot hate takes. But my issue with this is that I had a big problem with the movie, and because everyone universally loved it, the problem won't get solved.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So I'm going with Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Interesting. That's a hot take. What was your problem with it?
My problem, kind of similar to The Hobbit, with I felt there was no emotion to the finale, because it just felt like a CGI fight, and there was no real. It wasn't what I loved, and I will actually spoiler alert, I might be talking about a different Spider-Man movie later in this, but I love everything about it. I love Tom Holland. I love all the coming of age stuff. I love basically everything up until the final fight, when there's not the emotion. It just seems like two robots attacking each other, and then that's it. Whereas I want more of the intense. I want it to seem like I'm actually watching a real fight instead of just animation going at it like that.
It's like a Skybeam final act, but not a Skybeam. But it's not,
But I just wanted a real and I love Michael Keaton. I just didn't like the CGI. But that's the thing. I want Michael Keaton to fight Tom Holland. I don't want CGI Vulture fighting CGI Spider-Man in space like this when it's dark out and I can't see anything.
True.
And it just ends and it's like, I want Michael Keaton to be fighting.
Were
Like,
you
obviously not
with the sequel's third act.
The sequel was I like this movie better
Than Far From
but I'd
Home.
say I liked. I would say I liked. I had to watch it. I only saw it once in theaters. I gotta see it. But, I would say I'd say it was on par, about similar. But I would just like a more emotional. I'm a very big Spider-Man fan. This comes from like a very like deeply rooted like I want like a good Spider-Man fight, and not CGI, just in the dark in the night. Can't tell what's going on. And the music. I love Michael Giacchino. 50-50 is some of the best Michael Giacchino, but there's not as the music wasn't as good in Spider-Man: Homecoming as other Spider-Man films.
I do love me some Michael Giacchino. That's all right. I love this already. We're already off to some hot takes. Everyone, put it on Twitter. Juice hates Spider-Man. No, I'm just kidding. He loves Spider-Man. Allison, what is the movie that is loved by most, but you're just like, oh, it's not my cup of tea?
I feel like this might also be a hot take because it's one of his Oscar-winning performances, I think. Mm-hmm. And that would be There Will Be Blood.
Oh, yeah, that is very universally loved. I could see how that might be someone's cup of tea. Yeah,
I don't know, and it my husband Frank, it blows his mind too that that I say the same thing, that I'm like I didn't like it. Granted, I was probably watching it with an ex. I was watching it for the first time with an ex on a computer screen, and he was being really grumpy through it too. But I just like. It was just one of the things where just the pacing, it just was slow. I don't know. Should I give it another watch? Probably now. It's been a few years, but yeah, there's just something about Daniel Day-Lewis. Either you love him or you hate him. And I loved him in Gangs of New York. I loved him in Lincoln. Movie just doesn't do it for me.
I watched it. The first time I watched it, I probably had kind of a similar opinion. And then I went through a big PTA. I watched like all of his movies right in order, and in that rewatch of There Will Be Blood, I loved it way more than the first time. So yeah, maybe a rewatch, or maybe just a full PTA thing, and you'll like it more.
Maybe, but and what's funny is it was between this one or the Phantom Thread, and I actually liked the Phantom Thread a little bit more than I like There Would Be. I know it's hot take. I know, guys. I'm sorry.
Can you go on record, Allison? Do you hate milkshakes?
No. Well, I can't really drink them because I don't have a gallbladder anymore. So.
All right.
Well, I just said something offensive. I'm sorry. I'll drink yours.
That's fine. Hey. I mean, I still drink them. It's just it doesn't feel great afterwards. I drink your milkshake. I mean, the scene where he's like screaming in the church about abandoning his child, like Paul Dano's like giving it to him, like it's a great scene, and it's a heart he deserves it for being a piece of shit, but it's just that movie as a whole. I was not into it.
I mean, there are a lot of movies that I'm like, I get it. Like this was directed so well, the score, everyone is acting the shit out of this, and I'm like, it just wasn't. Again. Hot take, most Scorsese films. Sorry, Juice. But I'm like, I get it. Like, I get why people love him. I get why people love these movies. They're just not made for me. And I try. Like, I try to eat. I'm like, all right, another one's coming. I'm going to try this one. Certain Scorsese, I don't mind. But most of them, like most of like beloved ones, I'm like, I get it, but I don't get it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just certain things just aren't for people. AJ, movie that everybody loves, but you just cannot stand.
Don't say Rogue One.
No. Avengers End Game.
Oh, this would be the hottest of all hot takes.
I thought mine
Avengers
was a hot
End Game.
Okay.
Avengers End Game
Lots of
is
hate
my
for the MCU
favorite film in the MCU. Or sorry, Avengers Infinity War is my favorite film in the MCU because of what they do.
I'm so happy I asked this question. This is fascinating.
It's what they do with Thanos. And what did they do with the character they developed to the point where I think that society is not going to remember this movie as well as they do right now. Because you build up this amazing character where people are talking about, is Thanos right? Is Thanos the best? Is he bigger than Darth Vader? Is he the greatest movie villain of all time?
No.
So this was the discourse at the time in the film fan community.
That's true.
So
I was not ever part of that.
Here's what happened quietly after that movie came out. That Thanos, they chop off his head and they replace him with a thin, two-dimensional villain who's a time-displaced Thanos that somehow doesn't have the character development. So what happens is those conversations stop happening because our amazing villain is gone. I wanted Endgame to end in a way that, yes, Thanos had been vanquished. However, we kept those same emotional beats with the villain. So for me, the film did not land.
Fair. I'm sorry, but when Cap finally gets to say Avengers Assemble, that's just I don't know.
There's beautiful
that was it for me.
When he picked up the hammer, I fucking started
beautiful
sobbing.
Moments. Oh, beautiful moments for comic book fans, but as a film, as a continuation of another film.
I know that Marvel gets a lot of flack for its villains, and I get it. I get the criticism, and I think certain movies like Black Panther, Killmonger, great, probably my favorite MCU villain. But yeah, I don't know. It's just not something that has ever irritated me that much because I'm always there for the heroes, and I think there's a lot of good character beats and moments for the heroes in Endgame, and that these characters we followed for years. And I just never, again, maybe this is a hot take, I just never gave two shits about Thanos to begin with. I know everyone was so psyched to see him in it, and a lot of people loved I liked Infinity War a lot as well, and I'm happy that Infinity War, I guess, made him a compelling villain. But I just never. I don't know. His argument in Infinity War wasn't that compelling to me. And I got that it needed to be done to make this movie. And I love Infinity War and I love Endgame. I mean, they're not like my favorite Marvel movies. Or not, they're up there for me. They're not like my Winter Soldier will always be my favorite, probably. I'll be amazed if that ever gets dethroned. But yeah, the whole, I don't know. I guess I get it that what people complain about the villain. But I've never been the type of person that's like, the villain should be the best character in this scene.
We lost 5 viewers during this segment. Not even joking.
I'm sorry,
guys, if you're upset, my Twitter handle is right there.
My favorite memory from going and seeing Infinity War in theaters is when Thanos does his snap and people start, getting dusted. And as soon as Chadwick Boseman goes ahead and gets dusted, you just hear one person in the theater go, "Oh, hell no!" This whole moment of just it's great.
My death pool for Infinity War was about 95% accurate. I have witnesses.
This is my hot take real quick, and then we're going to get on with me doing the interviewing. But I will say, of Marvel movies, Avengers films tend not to be my favorite, just because I think it's too much to balance. Like, you just have so many characters. You want to give everyone screen time. Tony Stark always gets way too much, in my opinion. No offense, but he does. And so I always kind of like the standalone stuff a little bit better, because you really get to hone in on that. Again, I don't know, maybe I know it's like, well, you go to see a superhero movie for the boom boom and the da-da-da. But I like Juice was talking about, the coming of age stuff in Spider-Man. Like, I like the character moments of these
And there is such thing as too much of boom.
Yeah, the best. I think
guys,
the best part
we need to do a three hour little segue here. Thoughts on Eternals?
Oh, gosh.
I haven't seen it yet.
I saw it last night.
We're not gonna do it.
But what
I loved it, but
about
we're not
Avengers
doing this. We're not
is
doing
what
this.
I feel about this. It's just too many characters, and I needed more time with them. It somehow felt too long and too short at the same time. Like,
yeah,
Guys, we're not doing this.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
going
yeah.
on to the next topic.
Yeah. Anyways, that's our topical talk of the week. Turtles. Anyways, we love all movies, even the ones that are loved by most, but we can't stand. This has been Hot Takes by What the Show. All right, this is a fun one. Films are great, but sometimes to know that we actually want to go see our favorite film, we get to watch trailers, which actually is maybe one of my favorite parts of the theatrical experience. I know people are like, oh, 30 minutes. I love it. I'll watch that West Side Story trailer comes on every time, and I'm like, it's so pretty. Look at the cinematography. And I get hype every time. So anyways, this is something I'm very intrigued by because I do rank trailers. I judge trailers. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. But best film trailer. I will go ahead and start with you this time, Allison. What is your favorite film trailer?
So, for someone who doesn't like horror movies, this might be a little bit of a wild take from me. But for the best film trailer, I chose the 1979 trailer for Alien.
Ooh, okay.
So, and I chose that because, again, growing up, going to Disney, all of that, you're in line for the great movie ride, right? And as you're in the one area where they have the screen, they're playing all the different movie trailers. And one of the trailers because they're playing all the trailers for the movies that are part of the great movie ride. So you're sitting there, you're watching this Alien trailer where like it's that fucking siren just keeps going and it's getting louder and louder and faster, and this becomes more fast paced and things are popping out, and you have Sigourney Weaver and her heavy breathing and whatnot. So you feel it, and then you get on the ride, and then you're in that section and you're 7 years old and you're crying because you're terrified as well.
Okay.
So then when I finally decided that I was going to be a brave grown-up and watch Alien, I went back to kind of just watch the trailer again just to make sure I was brave enough to do it. And as I watched the trailer again, and just at the end where it just says, in space, no one can hear you scream. Like, it still holds up so well because you know it's going to be a terrifying movie, but you have nothing else. I think trailers that can do that are able to give you just a little bit of a story without going too much into it. Because I think that's where people sometimes get annoyed by trailers because you get the whole fucking movie in it. Sure. But something like that, you're seeing all of this stuff and you're just like, yeah, I want to see that flick. And I think Alien just does it. I think it's just the perfect trailer.
That's a good. That's a little. I think a lot of times I think of like modern trailers because like the art form of trailers. But yeah, I mean there are some good classics out there because again, back in the day it was the stereotypical how honest trailers was formed, stereotypical in a world, and like there was all that kind of stuff. And we've definitely got a little more artistic with trailers this day and age. But yeah, there are some good ones for some classic films as well, like Alien. AJ, you up to bat?
My pick is a trailer so good that it actually replaced. I only count this as the best trailer I've ever seen, but also the best trailer for the worst movie in its same regard, and that is the trailer for 2018's Welcome to Marwen.
That is a good trailer. Not the best movie, but a good trailer. Which again makes it even like a better trailer. When a trailer is good, and you're like, yeah, the movie wasn't even that good.
The movie is one of my least favorites of 2018, and when I went and saw First Man, I cried in the trailer in the theater at the trailer for this movie, and just simple things like learning to fly playing and Steve Carell saying, "I'll be fine. I've got my friends, my art, I've got hope. I'll be fine." Oh my god. And like the action figure version of himself like reassuring him. It's just if they had never came out with the movie, if you just had the documentary for the original Marwen call instead, and if we just had that trailer as a short film to bring attention to it, it would have been amazing. But I still watch that trailer just to watch that trailer.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That's some good stuff right there.
Interesting.
Okay. All right. So, Juice. What is in your opinion, just the best film trailer?
So this was the one I think I did the most work to come up with an answer for. I watched a bunch of trailers, and I was like, Logan's amazing. Force Awakens was like, tears every time.
Chewie, we're home.
But yeah, Chewie, we're home. The third trailer too. I can actually remember each trailer for each movie, for that movie. But the one I had to go to was I have to base it off what the best trailer was. And I've told this story a few times, but the only movie that I was so confident was going to be good, that me and my friends bought 2 tickets for it to see it the same night. And that was Suicide Squad.
It was a damn good trailer.
Bohemian Rhapsody. I rewatched it, and I'm like, I want to watch this movie. I'm like, oh wait, no, I don't. But I was like, I don't have to, because I just watched all the best. The best version of this movie is this trailer.
Yeah, it's the trailer. 100%.
It's just so good the way they edit everything to fit in with Bohemian Rhapsody. Bullets drop during the drum beats, and it's.
I love when a song choice just crushes a trailer, right?
Yeah, and you're watching it, and you're like, okay, this shouldn't actually reflect the quality of movie, because anyone can just edit. If anyone can just edit a movie to Bohemian Rhapsody, and you're going to be immediately want to go to that movie, it doesn't make it a good movie. So that should have been a sign that this is probably not actually good. They had to go that far out for the trailer.
Too far. Too far.
Sorry, I was just looking at the chat, and Mike brought up something that's going to come up later. It's cool.
Jeremy in here with Man of Steel's Hans Zimmer score. That was a great fucking trailer too.
Again, not my favorite film, but the trailer.
But the trailer's just I was just because my other choice that I was gonna do if someone else had taken Alien for my second favorite trailer is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because I think the song choice in it is so good, and that song is throughout the movie too. But you got the Leo dance, you get a little bit of what it is, and then it's just when you get, or even now the new Matrix movie with Jefferson Airplane. And just that good song choice, just crushing a trailer. You get that much better for sure.
All right, y'all. This is a hard question. We were talking earlier a little bit about how sometimes you just look at a movie and you're like, I can tell it's just a perfectly made film. All right. We're going to go, AJ, I'm going to go back to you. Objectively, what is the best film ever made? It doesn't have to be your favorite, but this movie, you're just objectively, this is what cinema was made for, so this movie could be made.
Suck it, Mike. It's Titanic.
Hell yeah! Best answer.
I saw that movie 5 times in theaters. I spent that much money.
I never saw Titanic. I never saw Titanic. Never saw Titanic until I was 23 years old.
Yeah.
This movie is objectively beautiful. There is comedy. There's adventure. There is tragedy. There is themes on classism. It's so quotable. It's beautifully shot. The story of how this movie was made is insane. And I think that there's no greater feat in film than the accomplishments of Titanic.
All right, well, that's the only correct answer. So sorry, Allison and Juice.
Sorry.
We're out of time. We can't go to the next one.
I would drop this mic, but I paid a lot of money for it.
No, you're good.
That was a perfect answer, because it gets hated on, but objectively, you watch that film, even if you don't like it, and you're like, this is what cinema was made. This movie.
Look, I was a 13 or 12-year-old. I was a 12-year-old girl and went to go see that in theaters, and I think that's what I had my first.
I think is a testament to how good that movie is. It's a 3-hour effing long film plus trailers, and people went and saw it.
My parents drove me to go see in theaters. My parents dropped me off at that theater 5 times to have my moment with Leo. I think that was my coming of age moment. I think that was the first time I ever felt anything downstairs was watching Leo.
I saw 23 and same.
Of those questions, there are a couple of sexy questions that I decided to omit this evening, but Allison kind of answered one for us tonight. So
I was 7 when it came out. I was 23 when I saw it for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's objectively, if I was going to remove myself, perfect.
It's a perfect film. It's a perfect.
Mic drop.
It's a perfect film.
My mom saw that movie twice in theaters, and my mom comes like my grandfather, like her father is like the cheapest like man I ever met. I live in a Dutch community. I'm not Dutch. I live in a Dutch community, so I know the definition of cheap. He is like the cheapest person. The fact, and she has his blood. She saw that movie twice in theaters. That is a testament to like somebody that would never ever see a movie 2 times in theaters. Like, I already saw that movie in theaters. Why would I ever see it again? It was that good. I thought it was. I zoned out during the actual like Titanic stuff. Like I was more invested during like the Leo, Kate Winslet stuff.
What's wild about and then you think about when that movie was released, because that was back when VHSs were still a thing, like DVDs were just starting. It was two tapes. Like you had to switch halfway through.
I know exactly
long.
To this day, I'll watch it on like streaming and exactly what, because it's the room where they're talking about it's filling or whatever, and he's like, I assure you, this boat will sing. And I'm like, end of tape 1. Every time I watch it, I'm still like, the black there, end of tape 1. Like it's just that's stuck with me forever.
Oh, I know.
You had to switch to tape 2.
I was looking
at say Joey Boros in the chat need more Babe Allies and friendships. He's talking about more Kombat Annihilation, but trust me, Babe Allies and friendships is it should be the title of what the show. But that's another story.
That's another story for another day. But we'll think about it. And name change, maybe. And no, we're not even bringing up the alternate ending right now. We don't have time for that. Sorry. So questions.
Okay, we need to speed round this a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna have to speed round a couple of these. All right, Allison. Objectively, what is the greatest film ever made?
My choice was Cameron Crowe's Almost Famous. I think it is just it's perfect. It has drama, it has comedy, it has iconic scenes. You know, when you think of Almost Famous, you either think of the bus scene with Tiny Dancer, or you think about Billy Crudup on the roof before that yelling at everyone that, you know, I'm a golden god. Jason Lee has a very underrated performance, I think, in this movie, along with the good Philip Seymour Hoffman. I watched this movie my senior year almost every weekend because I was friends with the local band. And like after they finished playing a show, we were very cliche and went back to their house and we would watch Almost Famous and drink 40s because that's how cool we were. So yeah, I just think it's one of the most beautifully done films ever, and it's just it's one for everyone for sure.
That's
real quick. I am a golden god will be a line that I say in an Irish pub. Tripping balls in 2068 when I die.
When he's 77 in Ireland in 2016.
Fun fact. Sorry.
All right, Juice, speed round it for me.
Yep. So
the greatest film ever made.
I finally have one I think Mike might be on board with, but this is a movie I had to look at. Right. What is the acting, comedy, directing just creates the ultimate film. It's a film that you can watch at any time. It's a film you can especially watch at Christmas time. It's a movie that has just brought all of it's the world together, and it's Die Hard.
I think these are all very valid answers, honestly.
Good one.
Die Hard is objectively a perfect film.
Everything. Everything that you want in a movie is in this movie. Comedy, romance, action. I'd say Princess Bride would be like, this is like Princess Bride personified. Came out a year after, and this is like the adult Princess Bride. Like if you want the ultimate movie for kids, go Princess Bride. If you want the ultimate movie for anyone, Die Hard.
All right. This one, because there's a couple questions coming up that I think we might have kind of some meatier answers. So this next question, we're going to speed round it just real quick. We're going to start with you, Allison. What's the film you've watched the most?
film I think I pretty much watched the most is Newsies. I'm pretty sure there was a time in high school where I probably watched this movie every single day because it was on like HBO or something, and I was obsessed with Christian Bale as Jack Kelly.
That's
yeah,
good. I love me some Newsies. AJ, film you've watched the most.
I'm obsessed with Kevin Smets, and my pick is Remember the Titans. Watched it actually about 90 times in 1 year, and that year was when I was going to 7th grade football. Next.
I love it. Juice. Film you've watched the most.
The original Spider-Man. This movie, Spider-Man 2002, this movie on repeat. This is why I love the character driven Spider-Man so much with the great music, the Danny Elfman score. I cry every time. This actually might be the movie I cry the most to. This is everything. This is,
That's good. Those are good answers. All right. This is one I'm very intrigued by. And again, this is another one, the one that makes me laugh the most, and this one. I still have never come up with my answer to this. And the question is, what's the film that you most relate to? Like you see yourself in, you can really relate to that film. And I'm like, oh, is there a film? Like, I don't know. So with that said, AJ, I will start with you this time. What is the film that you most relate to?
It is the film adaptation of Jack Kerouac's novel On the Road. Let's if we're going to keep it short, we can do an entire other episode of this. We might even bring up this coming Monday when I'm doing a watch long of Rebel Without a Cause with Hitman Hudson. But the quote is the only, and this is one of those things that is, somebody read this quote at my funeral. Okay. The only people for me are the mad ones, the ones who are mad to live, mad to talk, mad to be saved, desirous of everything at the same time, the ones who never yawn or say a commonplace thing but burn, burn, burn like yellow, fabulous Roman candles across the night sky. That's all you need to know.
That line right there. I'm like, yeah, I see how you relate to that, AJ. That does.
Yep.
Perfect. 100% tracks. Whoa,
we're good.
Allison, what is the film that you most relate to?
So the one that I chose for this is the Peanut Butter Falcon. For those who don't know, my oldest brother has Down syndrome. So that's obviously biggest connection. I also I used to work with adults with disabilities, so I kind of connect with Dakota Johnson's character a little bit. And my brother who has Down syndrome is the coolest fucking guy on the face of the planet. And he loves wrestling as well. I think if you go on my Facebook, there's a really cool picture of him when he got to meet Hulk Hogan in Clearwater and then got to party with him and Brooke at their Hogan's Beach Club back when that was still open in Clearwater for 4th of July weekend. So, yeah, I mean, it's really kind of the best way to put Peanut Butter Falcon.
What you shared with me in relation with wrestling and beer.
I shared it. My brother also went viral on TikTok for my little sister's wedding. He was one of the best man in the wedding, and he gave a beautiful speech about how when he was 8 years old, he held Molly in his arms, and one day he can't wait to hold Molly and Kyle's babies in his arms. Beautiful whole speech. And my sister and brother-in-law are expecting in April. So he's going to get to hold
a daughter.
Yeah. A little girl.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
By the way, is anybody keeping a tally? Because I'm fucking winning this match.
Yeah, the AJ is killing it in the tier tally. Yeah. I just want that to be known. All right.
It's a good TikTok.
Films to be juiced with. I'm excited. I heard there's maybe going to be something happening with this answer. Are you with us, Juice?
In the end of time, there was a man who knew the road, and writing
I could have seen this as your answer.
On stone. In the ancient times, an artist led the way, but no one seemed to understand. In his heart he knew. In his heart he knew The honest must be true. But the legend of the ranch was way past due. Well, you think you'll be just fine without me, but you're mine. How can you kick me out of the bin? There's just one problem there. The band is mine. How can you kick me out of what is mine? Well, you're not hardcore if you live hardcore. But the legend of the ranch is way hardcore. Well, you're not hardcore. You're not hardcore. You live hardcore.
Do you live hardcore?
Legend of the ranch is way hardcore.
Encore. I'm sorry,
Holy
everyone else's answers for every question is invalid because you didn't sing it on the keypad.
guys. Wow.
Nope.
Oh, you deserve to be full.
Nope,
screen.
it's your show now. It's cool.
Now. I really should have seen that answer coming, and yet I was like, man, I wonder what Juice is gonna pick. That should have been obvious.
Holy shit.
That was the best thing I've ever seen. Thank you, Juice. That's like right up there with like all of us losing our shit on the anniversary show when Brother Loomis brought up the Space Kook episode.
Oh, yeah.
Juice, can I just say, whenever we officially figure out how to do clip outs, we're clipping that out. That was great. That was a 10 out of 10 for me. All right. This is another question I feel like could maybe lead to some tears. I don't know. With AJ present, it's always possible. This is a question that's very, very intriguing to me. And I'm certain everyone gave a lot of thought. So I'm excited to hear their answers. Yeah, this is okay. But first, exactly, Lego. When everyone feels like they did a great job in their test, they all failed. And Juice got 142%. So yeah, pretty much.
It's graded on a curve.
When Juice ruins the curve for everyone because
Yeah, I think Juice, right? Yeah. All right, guys. We only got a couple questions left, and they're both some good, juicy ones. So juicy, hey. So hopefully we can see if we can. I don't know if we can top that, but that was so good. But we'll see. All right. So I will go ahead and start. I will start with Allison this time. Ladies first again. All right. Film that means the most to you. Again, just like the objectively perfectly made one. Not necessarily your favorite, but a film that maybe due to a personal experience or just your first viewing in the cinema or something just like means the most to you on like a personal level.
So mine is actually also my favorite film. I think Kelly's in here, so she's seen me cry talking about this film, but it is Casablanca. So it's been my favorite film my whole entire life. Oh, not whole entire life, but like I remember seeing it for the first time. I watched it with my dad when I was like 13 or 14 and loved it. And then it's kind of just followed me through every stage of my life, especially my relationship. It was one of the movies my husband hadn't seen when we had first started dating. And I finally got him to watch it with me. And he was like, oh, I get it now. At our wedding, we had As Time Goes By playing during our sand ceremony. Yeah, it's just kind of always just when he helped me with the school project when I went back for my bachelor's originally. It was at Valencia College and taking a 20th century humanities class. He spent hours putting the model plane together so I could do a diorama of like that final scene. And then he wanted the plane back, but I dropped it and broke it and told him that the professor kept it until he found it in my trunk a couple weeks later. So it just kind of, it's always been there. There's just something about it every single time that just, we keep coming back to it. It's one of the best movies ever made.
Definitely there's so many quotes from that film that I think people don't even realize are from that film. But yeah, it's definitely a classic. All right, AJ, hit me. What's the film that means the most to you?
Christmas Vacation. National Lampoon's.
I think it was like a really good personal reason, and Juice was just like, yeah.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation means more to me than any other movie. It's the one film that's united my family, no matter how divided we got. And it's just, it's just goofy shitters full, like, or
watch The Carpet Rent, Todd.
Hallelujah! Where's the time at all? But it's the kind of thing that, like, we get my family together, and like my nieces a couple years ago were just old enough in my brother's eyes to watch it with us on Christmas Eve as a family with us, and it was a rite of passage to them. Even though I saw it when I was 4 fucking years old, like we didn't have a lot of restrictions. Like they still can't drink soda some nights. That's a whole other thing. But like certain things, like remembering my mom. By the way, streamlabs.com/with-tip. Do go toward my mom's surgery recovery. Coming home when I was a teenager, after my parents' divorce from like high school summer weights and shit. And it's the middle of summer and my mom's watching Christmas Vacation.
Hells yeah.
And like it's one of her favorite movies. It's one of my brother's favorite movies, one of my sisters, one of everybody in my families, and because of my family, it makes it the most important movie because we all have that together forever.
Aw, I love that.
That's the most important movie to me.
Good choice. Good choice. Juice. What is the film that means the most?
Yeah, Christmas Vacation's a great one. I'm working on an egg. I'm bartending my buddy's Christmas Eve party. He wants me to do just have a few drinks, so I'm working on an eggnog that I tried a couple today, and it's gonna be hopefully really good.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. So for this one, this movie is something that it was universally loved when it came out, but I feel like since then it's kind of lost its steam. But it's something I very much relate to, and it got me at a time in my life where I needed a movie like this to really give me some kind of purpose and some direction, and I gotta go with La La Land.
I love that movie so much.
Wow.
It's a great movie, and I hear all the time it's a white guy trying to save jazz, and it's like, no, it's Damien Chazelle just giving his story, or giving a story that he, obviously he's a white guy, so he's gonna have that, the character of Ryan Gosling to portray him, but it's his feelings towards jazz and music. It's just all about the evolution of music and just adapting and making choices. And it hit me a time when pretty much music and movies were the two most important things to me. And so those combining for just a beautiful thing. And I hate musicals. That's the thing. I'm not a musical person.
When when the back of that truck opens up during that opening number, and it's just the people, I just start I don't know why, just start crying as they're singing Another Day of Sun as that drums. Oh, it's so good.
It was, and so I truly it was just a movie I truly, not that I relate to it, but it really just meant something to me at the time that I saw it. It was something I knew was going to be a movie to watch out for because of Damien Chazelle having done Whiplash. But it spoke to me. I learned how to play City of Stars on piano even before the movie had come out. Just from the trailer, I looked up how to play it, so I can still to this day play City of Stars.
Look at you.
That's awesome.
It's an easy song. It's not hard. But.
You still I can't play anything on the piano, so you're still fancy in my opinion. Shoot. Well, y'all, we've come down to it, and I'm gonna start in the order in which I asked you how you died. Juice, there you were on your trampoline, about 75 years old. You finally got to do it. You trampolined and keytarred at the same time. and then you fell into a pit of snapping turtles. What a way to go. I came along and I was like, oh, my dear friend Juice is gone. I miss him. How will we commemorate him? And I got a coffin and I put you in the coffin, made sure you're nice and cozy with all your most precious, valuable keytars. We want to make sure each one was buried with you in the coffin. And because the keytars took up so much space, we only had room for one film to go in, one little DVD, Blu-ray, I don't know, Netflix subscription, however, video from the library, however you so choose to keep your video collection, and VHS, 2 tapes of Titanic, if that's how you still like to watch it. There's only one room for one film. And this is the film that you're gonna be buried with. This is the film that you're showing in the rec room in heaven, and this film represents you. It's a film you're gonna be okay watching on loop in heaven. What is that film?
So I went for shock factor on a few. This one I did not go for shock factor. I had to go with Taxi Driver. Is the movie to me that that I bought this Blu-ray randomly. It was like, oh, that's a good movie. I was starting to get into movies after watching like movie fights and stuff, and I was like, oh, I know that's a good movie. I'm gonna buy it because it was on sale and it was a steel book, so that appealed to me and changed, just how I saw film. And I wrote like a 10-page paper in college on it, and like it was the best. I've watched it with like 3 different commentaries. I've watched it over and over. Never gets old. I got to do the video Drew. I signed up for Video Drew's Patreon just to do like a trivia match against Taxi Driver. It was so good.
Did pretty well.
Love this film. I did pretty well. I think I won.
Drew did really well for Drew. Like,
yeah, she wasn't even there for half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she wasn't there. She wasn't there.
I didn't even see the whole movie.
This is one of those questions that that's the answer. I knew you probably would give Juice, but I always enjoy listening to you talk about Taxi Driver, because I just the love you have for it, and it is pure, and I always enjoy listening to people talk about the film that they love the most. So that was the go-to answer, but it was the right choice. Thank you for participating in this madness tonight. All right, Allison, there you are in your 70s, and you finally got that magical surgery that allowed you to, you're like up on the stage like Adele. Like, people are weeping because your voice is just so beautiful. And you're up there and you're like, I've done it. I've reached the pinnacle. I've followed every dream. I'm stage diving off. And then I'm going up to heaven where I'm going to watch this film that Bethany, because again, I'm just at this concert. And I'm like, oh no, Allison, let me bury you in this nice coffin that I've, of course, just had with me at this concert. So why wouldn't I? And so I tuck you in.
I carry them in my back pocket all the time.
Yeah, don't we all? And then I tuck you in, and I'm like, all right, here you are. I put your microphone in to remember the time that you got to live your dream. And then, so there's only so much room after that. So I can only put one film. What is the film you would like to be buried with?
The film I would like to be buried with is one that I think has one of the most phenomenal soundtracks, and that would be the movie Sing Street.
Oh,
nice. Beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah. I actually just changed it because before I was going to try to pull a fast one and say the whole 8-film box set for the Harry Potter series, but then I realized that J.K. Rowling is a terrible, horrible person, and she doesn't deserve to come to heaven with me. So, given how I died, it really made me think about Sing Street and just how great of a movie that is, and how I want Drive It Like You Stole It playing as I'm rocket shipping up to heaven.
on up to heaven.
Right on up there.
That's a good man, there's so many options you've given tonight, Allison, that are movies I haven't thought of in a minute, and I'm like, oh, I want to go watch The Birdcage in Sing Street.
I just told I have a coworker that listens to or she kept playing 80s new wave, and I remember she telling me like her favorite like type of movie is just like 80s like coming of age and I was like,
would get along very well.
Yeah, I'm like, have you seen Sing Street? She's like, Sing Street. You would love Sing Street. So she wrote it down. This was just a few days ago, so she like wrote it down. So I'm gonna have to ask her if she watched it, and if she did, I will return with a full report.
Yeah, I want to know. I'm invested now.
Such a good movie. Should have gotten more. Should have gotten more love during the award season. I remember Dan Murrell going on a tirade about that movie not getting any appreciation during that award season.
One of my YouTube videos is a result of seeing that movie and being inspired and like making a video.
This is literally like 80s new wave. That's like my bat signal. Someone's like 80s new wave, and I'm like, where? What? Are we listening? No? Okay. That's literally where it's at. All right, AJ. The year is 2068. You're in Ireland. You've just had a rousing good time at that bar. You're on the golf course.
Many bars.
What? Sorry?
Many bars. I was founded at the golf course.
Bars. That's right. Sorry. You were like pub crawling up in Ireland.
I was founded at a golf course.
Even though you haven't been on a golf course since you were 14. And you don't want to be a disturbance to this poor groundskeeper. So you leave him a nice tip before you die. And then I come and collect your ashes. But in the urn, that's what it's called, right? That ashes are kept in. There's only so much space. I actually have to kind of dissolve the DVD so it'll go in there with your ashes. So what is the film you would like to have in your urn with your ashes? What is the film you'd like to be buried with?
It's Howl, starring James Franco. It's the story of the poem by Allen Ginsberg. And my best friend right now of the past 5 years, and hopefully a best friend for life, Ben McFarland, is going to... Can I show you guys the last verse of the poem? That he's going to only do the last verse of this at my funeral.
Okay.
Holy, 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 holy. So great time for that to happen. The world is holy. The soul is holy. The skin is holy. The nose is holy. The tongue and cock and hand and asshole are holy. Everybody is holy. Everybody is holy. Everywhere is holy. Every day is an eternity. Every man is an angel. The bum is as holy as a seraphim. The madman is as holy as my soul. You are holy. The typewriter is holy. The poem is holy. Is the holy hearers of the holy ecstasy is holy. Holy Peter, holy Allen, holy Solomon, holy Lucian, holy Kerouac, holy Hunky, holy Burroughs, holy Cassidy, holy the unknown buggered and suffering beggars and the holy human, holy angels, holy my mother in the insane asylum, holy the cocks and godfathers of Kansas, holy the groaning saxophone, holy the bop apocalypse, holy the jazz bands, marijuana, hipsters, peyote pipes, peace, and drums, holy the solitudes on the pavements, holy cafeterias filled with the millions, and holy the rivers of tears under the of the streets, holy the lone juggernaut, holy the vast lamb of the middle class, holy the shepherds of the rebellion who dig in Los Angeles, who is Los Angeles, holy New York, holy San Francisco, holy Peoria and Seattle, and holy Paris, and holy Tangier, and holy Moscow, and holy Istanbul.
The last part.
What's that?
Oh, sorry, Beth. I was like, this is how long? This is a crazy.
Oh, we're almost there.
Okay.
Holy time and eternity, holy eternity and time, holy clocks in space, holy the fourth dimension, holy the fifth international, holy the angel and Moloch, holy the sea, holy the desert, holy the railroad, the locomotive, holy the visions, the hallucinations, the miracles, the eyeball, the abyss, holy forgiveness, mercy, charity, faith, holy our bodies, suffering, magnanimity, holy the supernatural, extra brilliant, intelligent, kindness of the soul. That scene, that movie, that line read by my best friend, bury me with that movie and bury me with Kerouac's On the Road for the novel.
Okay, fair enough.
I told you it was going to be long.
Is he going to say that whole part at the funeral?
Yeah. He's also a stage poet.
Or is he allowed to read it?
He's also a stage poet. We'll see.
Probably.
All right, fair enough.
So I was able to look up. So I watched Sing Street on November 4th, 2016. And then my very first, this is before the guitar. It was just a keyboard cover released on November 5th, 2016. So that movie almost was the reason for my guitar career.
All right, guys. So we got to do sign-offs. We got to head out for the night.
Yeah.
We had a $1 donation once again from Hitman Hudson. Knows how to do it right. Streamlines $1. We have to answer this. More toxic Twilight character, totally related. Edward or Jacob? To make it more difficult, we are declaring Jacob's infinite imprinting not canon. Well, then it's Edward. It's he's if the imprinting part's not, it's.
Oh.
I liked Edward more than
Jacob.
Jacob was Edward actually liked her. Jacob was just a douche.
I was always a team Edward girl. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
so you have to say Jacob.
Yeah.
If it's not for the imprinting, then he's not worse.
Well, until the imprinting was pining over what he couldn't have. It was very aggressive about it.
Advantage of a girl who was very emotionally distraught and was like, "Why don't you love me?" And I'm like, she's going through it right now, Jacob.
They're
okay,
both shit.
You're not wrong. That's very true.
You take away the worst part of him, but we don't get to take away the worst part of Edward. Then Edward's worse.
Does Edward have his flaws? Yeah, but I don't know. He's an old. Yeah. We could have a whole discourse about this.
That could be back on for that one.
Jacob is
Twilight.
Almost. Just for fun. Okay, so I was only trying to pick movies that I owned on Blu-ray, and the one I didn't own on Blu-ray is the one I performed on guitar. But I own Twilight Eclipse on Blu-ray for some reason, and I was trying to work that in, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to just do that for my.
As you should. I brought Twilight Eclipse into it for why not? But nothing wrong with a little Twilight Eclipse.
I needed to rant about Desolation of Smaug.
Not the worst movie.
Smaug.
All right. Well, everyone, this has been What the Show to Be Buried With, and I hope everyone enjoyed. If everyone liked it, I don't know. Maybe we'll do a music one day or TV shows, or there's so many things. I think I personally thoroughly enjoyed the last almost 2 hours of getting to know my friends a little bit better through film, and I hope everyone else did as well. So yeah, my name is Bethany, as always, and I will be here every Wednesday on What the Show with these two lovely gentlemen, and then also the lovely gentleman that's usually on the couch with me. Also, if you're not already following Kingdom Cupcake Crawls at Kingdom Cupcake Crawls on Instagram, please do. Do you like pictures of cupcakes? Who doesn't? Go look at them. And if you're ever going to Disney, maybe you'll have some nice, honest reviews about them, and you'll know what to get. /Universal / wherever else I feel like eating cupcakes, which is everywhere. That's been me. Allison, where can the people of the internet find you?
You can find me over on Twitter at Allison Salamone. Saturdays at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. I am 1/4 of the crew with Mount Schmodown over there on the Schmoes of the North YouTube channel. This week we're actually going to be chatting and hanging with Thomas Harper, breaking down his career within Schmodown, talking with him about Spectacular coming up. So that'll be fun. Other than that, wherever people want me to come hang, I'm always down to chill.
Do you have any good things to plug?
I got nothing good to plug. You can find me grabbing some pizza, trying to do some more things.
And remember,
but
he loves Spider-Man, everyone, okay? Don't come for him.
I love the one true Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. No, I'm kidding. I love Tom Holland, but it's darn CGI. Anyway, yeah, I'm trying to shoot some more more stuff, but whatever. All right.
AJ, anything you'd like to say to the fine people before we sign off tonight?
Yeah, you can find me here in 5 days doing a watch along to Rebel Without a Cause with Hitman Hudson. And I guess after that, in 47 years, you can find me tripping balls in Ireland. Love you.
And at some point, AJ and I are supposed to go into a crying watch along. We got that coming up.
Date TBD. We got to do this.
TBD.
Yes.
Cry-a-thon. Okay, mark it on the calendar. 2068. Whether you're tripping balls or not, we're going to Ireland. Okay, we're gonna live.
And I'm gonna die. And that's been What the Show. We love you. Night.
Good night.